Imagine you're a business owner. You've worked hard to get to where you are at. You spent hours and hours owning your craft, and you are now beginning to see the fruits of your labor. Then along comes someone who wants to hire you for your services, and you agree, only to find out that they actually have no intentions of paying you. After convincing them to pay you even a small fraction of what it costs you for your services, they say to you assuringly, "Hey, it's okay, you're going to get great exposure." Well, this is exactly the situation songwriters and artists find themselves in today. I'm here for the next few minutes to persuade you to choose premium streaming services that pay artists fairly as your means of listening to music. As a working musician with many friends and colleagues in the music industry, and after extensive research on the music industry and streaming sites, I will share with you today the problem, the cause, and the solution. The problem is that musicians are not being paid fairly for their work. Recording music is very expensive. According to Ray Daniels, songwriter for Rihanna, it costs about $1 million to produce a song. First, there's writing, which is a huge project that involves a lot of time and money. Songwriters are brought in for a songwriting session, which according to Daniels can cost $25,000 to $200,000 a day. Next is recording, and recording costs include paying the producer, the engineer, renting out studios, renting out equipment, mixing and mastering. Rick Camp of RC1 and Mixmaster Live states that a project studio can cost a few thousand, while a big studio can cost $10,000, $15,000, or even $20,000 to cut a single track. Marketing is the last step and can cost another $1 million. Marketing costs are broken down into three parts: advertising, flying the artist to promotional events, and radio. As you can see, there are a lot of costs involved, and artists are not receiving the full value for their work. The song Wake Me Up by Aloe Block was Spotify's most streamed song and 13th most streamed on Pandora. Yet it only yielded $12,359 on Pandora, which after split by publishers and co-writers earned Block only $4,000. Block explained on Wired.com, "Does our work as songwriters have value? Coming from someone who has spent his whole life working hard to master his craft in order to touch the lives of others, that may seem like an absurd question." Marty Bandier, CEO of Sony, explains that Happy by Pharrell Williams was streamed 43 million times on Pandora and earned only $2,700 in publisher and songwriting royalties. This becomes a problem for listeners because artists are beginning to pull their music from streaming sites. Last year, Taylor Swift pulled her entire catalog off Spotify. Swift explained to Time magazine, "Valuable things should be paid for. It's my opinion that music should not be free, and my prediction is that individual artists and their labels will someday decide what an album's price point is. In an effort to keep the value of their music, artists will continue to take away their music from streaming sites, and if this keeps up, listeners may no longer have access to the music they once had." Now that you know that musicians not being paid fairly for their work is a problem, I will explain to you the cause of this. Free streaming sites are to blame. The digital revolution brought faster ways of accessing information, and on April 28th of 2003, the iTunes store opened and allowed customers to pick and choose instead of buying whole albums. However, this backfired when album sales began to drop. CNN reports that music sales have gone down from 11.8 billion in 2003 to 7.1 billion in 2012. The result? iTunes popularized the cheap digital single. In an attempt to lower the rate of piracy, two Swedish entrepreneurs by the name of Daniel Elk and Martin Lorentzen started Spotify in 2006. Spotify eliminated the need to buy music and is legal, but only pays a fraction of a penny per stream. The two most popular streaming sites are Spotify and YouTube. According to the Tricordist.com, Spotify pays 0.00521 cents per stream, or $5,210 per million streams. Spotify keeps 30%, and 70% is divided among producers, songwriters, and artists. YouTube pays even worse at 0.00175 per stream, or $1,175 per million streams. This means an artist would have to generate 3 million plays on each of the largest streaming sites to equal only 1,125 album sales on iTunes. Now that you know why musicians aren't being paid fairly, I will propose to you a solution for this problem. You can help resolve this problem by choosing premium versions of Spotify and other streaming sites. Premium subscriptions pay artists fairly. David Tube of Rockonomic.com explains that free members on Spotify generate only $1.50 a month, while premium members contribute $10 a month. But what does this mean to you, the listener? Well, not only do you receive the benefits of being a premium member with no ads, you support the artist to keep making music for you to enjoy. Aloe Block exclaims, I will do my part to convince that the music they love won't exist without us, and that we, as songwriters, cannot continue to exist like this. And you can do your part to protect the music that you love by buying albums and urging streaming sites to uphold the value of songwriting. After all, if songwriters can't afford to make music, then who will? Receiving incentive to create is one of the things that the government strives to protect under copyright laws. Article 1, Section 8 of the U.S. Constitution states that the Congress shall have the power to promote the progress of science and useful arts. Now, I will answer to some common opposing views. Many argue, look, Taylor Swift has so much money. Who cares if she loses some? Well, Brandon Shaw of Startup Musician argues, maybe this isn't about Taylor Swift. It's about the thousands of other independent artists who are trying to make a living by making the music that you love to listen to. Look, I agree with Brandon. It's not about the big artists. However, they do provide a voice for all the less known musicians to have their voice heard about the state of the music industry. Another opposing view is that commercial radio is free, so how is that different from streaming sites? Well, artists receive fair royalty rates from radio airplay under performance royalty organizations, or PROs. PROs are organizations that artists register with to receive royalties from any and all performances, whether live or radio. There are 3 PROs, ASCAP, BMI, and CSAC. According to BMI, their royalty rate is 12 cents per each performance on commercial radio. Compare that to Spotify. In conclusion, I have shared with you that musicians are not being paid fairly because of streaming sites paying next to nothing for music, and that you, the listeners, can help solve this problem by choosing to subscribe to premium versions of your favorite streaming sites. Look, we all love music in this room, and it's essential to our lives. Songwriters and artists pour their heart into the music that they share with us, the listeners. Let's come together and support the music that we love and the people who provide it for us. Thank you.